I mean, it is wild, dude. Like he's good at that because Legend's the same thing. He's covered in like layers of makeup, but he's still messed up, dude. Pennywise screwed me up for a while, Steve.
Who dressed you and why do they hate you? The thing about owning me, it's about status. And it's all about you having me and them not. King Chicken shows him his badge. He's like, I am the law. And all these folks are my kin.
My sister mom's over there taking care of my brother, kid.
Happened in the 90s.
You're a fan of Tim Curry, right?
Absolutely.
What would you say is your favorite role of his?
And I mean, he's had a lot. I mean, I think the one that just stands the test of time is probably Home Alone 2. Shitty hotel clerk, boss guy. I mean, that Satan and Legend, he's pretty dope. Clue, I always dug that movie. Obviously, when we were little, the board game was the shit. So I don't know, but I think that's it. I would go Home Alone 2. What about you?
The original Pennywise.
See, that scared me too much, and
Yeah.
but that's a credit to
That's
him
a
too.
credit to
Like,
him, yeah. Like it,
I mean, it is wild, dude. Like he's good at that because Legend's the same thing. He's covered in like layers of makeup, but he's still messed up, dude. Pennywise screwed me up for a while, Steve.
that's what you want out of a horror film, though, man. It's like that's a job well done. Like such a prolific guy, man. Just multifaceted. You know, he spent a bulk of his career on stage. His stage career is just prolific as his television and film. And then he got into voice acting.
Why not, dude? The guy's voice is just so it's perfect. This. I mean, it's stereotypical British, obviously, but it just is like silky smooth.
It's silky
You know?
smooth, and he has his own niche. It doesn't sound like any other British man. He has like a rich, refined
Yeah.
sound to him, man.
Yo, pepperoni pizza.
His first actual film role was Rocky Horror. I thought he had stuff before that.
Yeah, and that's a movie that's one of those cult classics
Yeah.
where you can't. There's he's affected millions of people with that. Not my exact cup of tea, but again, another like role where, I mean, I think he's the most memorable thing of that. You know,
For sure. I mean, of course, Meatloaf, but
dude, Tim Curry is a G. I mean, he's still with us, right?
last I heard, man, barely. Like he's been
Damn.
because it seems like he's retired from performing, man. His last like acting role was 2010. He's done some voice acting, but I think that last role in voice acting was in 2014, 15. So he's been having some health scares, some issues with that. And out of all of his roles, one of his favorite roles was Muppet Treasure Island as Captain Long John Silver.
That's also dope, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy. I'm trying to go through his thing real quick and just look at the catalog because I feel like we're missing. I feel like I'm missing a lot here, so I'm just gonna go back a little bit. Congo, he's in.
Congo.
He's in a show called Earth 2 that I dug. I used to watch with my grandma all the time. That I think was a CBS sci-fi show. Pretty dope. Multiple. I mean, he was in. Remember the show Mighty Max, the cartoon?
Mighty Max.
Voice Aladdin, voice in that. Obviously, we're going to talk about one today that I'm not going to spoil, which is dope. He was in the Three Musketeers movie
With
that
Oliver
we
Platt.
Yep. Tales from the Crypt. This guy was just all over. I mean, he was in Roseanne. This guy was all over the place, dude.
Scary Movie 2.
He was in Darkwing Duck. He was in Liquid Television, Batman the Animated Series, Fern Gully. I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm trying to go to like early Tim Curry here. Hunt for Red October,
Yeah.
Steve. Dope. Tracy Ullman show, legendary show. He was a part of it, and then it's kind of getting loose and goosey here. Got great. He played Judas Iscariot in the Greatest Adventure Stories from the Bible animated series. That's pretty. That's a pretty legendary role.
Sure.
He was the guy who fucked over Jesus in that, so that's pretty awesome. But you know, to that he's got to be Steve with a British accent. One of the best.
One of the best.
There's got that's out there, but he used it to the full extent. He didn't hide it.
Yeah. Shout out to Tim Curry, man. This is Steve G and Mad G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your Lord of the Flies and your Lords of the Underground and hold on to your love. You got to hold on to your love and rule. Keep on.
Oh, dude, En Vogue, Steve. I wasn't paying attention when I was this young enough to like listen to this live, but I gotta say, these are four lovely ladies.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I give them
oh,
10.
all of them. So that's a 4 for 4. Honestly, that's tough to do.
Word to Wendy's. Today, my friend, we're talking all things April 3rd in the 90s. Starting off in 1990, Catchfire premieres in theaters. A witness to a mob assassination flees for her life, running from town to town and switching identities along the way. But she cannot seem to elude Milo, the chief hitman sent after her. Directed by Dennis Hopper, starring Dennis Hopper, Jodie Foster, Dean Stockwell, Vincent Price, John Turturro, Fred Ward, and Joe Pesci as uncredited.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Didn't watch it, Steve, and I'm really regretting that.
It got bad reviews, but I watched it because obviously the star power, it's available on Amazon. And I think it's because of the star power that got me through, man. So Dennis Hopper, he's the hitman sent out to get Jodie Foster because she witnesses this assassination. And Joe Pesci, pre Goodfellas, he's a part of the mob, obviously, and it's got a couple like stereotypical. It's got Paulie Walnuts from Sopranos in there. Even Bob Dylan
Right.
has a role. Like that, Bob Dylan has a role. Like Catherine.
This
Yeah,
is. Get out of my face, you Italian piece of shit.
that was spot on, man. And
Pretty good about that, honestly. Steve.
and once again, Catherine Keener. I feel like she was a silent killer in the '90s, man.
Well, I mean, Dennis Hopper at the helm. I like that because he was good at directing. He was like one of those actors that started doing that. I think he was one of like the first ones that I remember hearing about, like from those days. But yeah, I feel like that's why you see so many stars in it. People respect that guy. It's cool. Is he good in it? Like as far as like being the assassin, that sounds kind of cool, honestly.
The story is a bit far fetched. What's it called when you kidnap somebody and they end up falling? Stockholm syndrome. Somewhere along the lines, like he kidnaps Jodie Foster, and now that he's got her captive, he's like, it's been 15 years since I've done it. Can you remind me what it's like? And like Jodie, yeah,
Oh,
it's really weird. So Dennis Hopper's being Dennis Hopper. He's doing his thing. That's always good to see. You got a little
yeah.
bit of Pesci, and Pesci he wanted to be uncredited in this movie.
He's like, nah, I don't put my fucking name on this shit.
And it's not even like
Yeah.
he's a side character. He has a prominent role. It's like, bro, we know you are you. Do you know who you are? You're him. Even Dennis Hopper, he went the Alan Smithy route for this movie, man. It's like the movie's not that bad. Like you have Amazon, Matt. I would recommend watching it.
Cast of character and Bob Dylan, like weird cameos and stuff. It sounds interesting, if nothing else.
And,
It's worth one watch.
and Vincent Price in like one of his last roles, man. I think this predates Edward Scissorhands, and you get a little bit of Jodie Foster titty. This is
Okay.
pre Silence of the Lambs Jodie Foster titty that you get.
I don't know if I really want to see a Jodie Foster titty, but
Not
that's
now,
cool.
but
Clarice, I'm into it.
yeah, in those days, yeah. Clarice, show me your titty nipple.
Yes.
On that same day in 1990, In Vogue would release their debut album, Born to Sing. Hold on. You're not going to see it, man. The R&B game is completely different. You don't see groups anymore. Everybody's a solo rock star. Everybody's Chris Brown, Trey Songz, T-Pain. You don't have a TLC, In Vogue, Escape, Total.
Yeah, dude. Or just the vibe of the music either. I'm just salty today, man. Where all the good shit at, like in Vogue, Steve?
Where is it? That's an honest question, Matt, because I miss that 90s R&B. That's why one of the reasons we created this show, man.
I wasn't paying attention to it, so you've educated me on a lot of like Escape and shit like that. Like I've been listening to that since we talked about it, which was now years ago, which is crazy in and of itself. But yeah, it's sad. And Vogue, I was listening to this album. This doesn't have the hit that I remember.
That's
This
the one, yeah.
one that everybody remembers, but Yeah, dude. There's some bangers on this. There's one other one I was listening to. I'm trying to see what it
Uh,
was. It's
you don't
not
have to
full on.
worry.
That's
Yeah.
it. There you go. And Love Lines also. 11, number 11 on there. It was pretty
You
tight.
don't
So,
have to worry anything. Yeah, man.
but I don't know the names of these ladies, but yeah, dude. And Vogue, if Matt was crushing on black chicks back in the day like he was for the rest of his life, I would have totally been into En Vogue, Steve.
Shout out to those sisters, man.
You know what I regret, Steve? That we weren't aware. I wasn't aware of this as much when we were going to college, and like I wasn't this person that I am now. That we could have just been going to like some like weird like R&B show like in Toledo and just macking on some 40-year-old like hotties. You know what I'm saying? We missed out on that, and I'm sorry.
My confidence just was not there. As well as not now. It's
Yeah, I mean, mine's not there either. But in like the best situation possible, just would have been nice. You know, it would have been fun. It would have been a good time. But in Vogue,
yeah.
if we ever meet in Vogue just out on the street, Steve, like let's not hesitate to tell those lovely ladies
It's
just how much we appreciate them.
man, that was unintentionally funny because Dawn Robinson, she just went viral a couple weeks ago for living in her car. So yeah.
No,
I mean, oh, sorry.
sorry, but hey, then that's even more of an indication that maybe we could connect, Steve. You know, it might be a problem.
She's available. I mean,
Oh no.
where did Matt go? But,
Oh. Hold on. There we go. I don't know
but
what just. I think Don Robinson's got control of my cameras, Steve. She knew.
it's her assistant. But in 1992, Dinosaurs is airing season 2, episode 22, Slave to Fashion. Charlene spends all her college education money on a talking coat.
I mean, the show's still relevant, Steve. You know what I'm saying? It's all about
It's
following the Joneses, keeping up with the Joneses.
the Kardashians and all of that.
If this was the '90s, Steve, we all wanted a starter jacket. We all wanted a cool Charlotte Hornets, maybe a Golden State Warriors starter jacket, maybe an Orlando Magic. You know,
Starter jacket, or do you remember the Chalk Line series back in the early 90s? The Chalk Line series, they had some of the dopest NFL jackets. They had some of the dopest NBA jackets. If you saw a picture of like the NBA superstar series they had, it would be like a David Robinson and like different photos of David Robinson on the back with like a Spurs emblem. They had one for Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, like all the top stars had like a chalk line series, man. So
hell yeah. I need to look this up real quick. I mean, I'm seeing some tasty ones.
yeah,
Jose Canseco chalk line. Love that.
where yeah, the individual player would have a jacket. Like, man, when I get rich, man, like I love the fact that the internet exists for stuff like this because you can buy like the vintage. I want the vintage one.
Dude, I mean, somebody holler at me. If you want a big ass Steelers starter jacket from the '90s, I got that shit in my closet. So I'm happy to sell it. Happy to let somebody else live in that lifestyle for a little bit. Because when you walked into school, Steve, with a starter jacket in the '90s, you're not talking to me sideways. You know, you're not getting into my fucking face with that bullshit.
You got the juice now.
Do you have a lot of them? Because I'll be honest with you, my mom, I was spoiled, so I had a couple really tight ass ones that I was proud of.
I didn't have a starter jacket. I had a Phoenix Suns Averex jacket
Oh,
though. It was like a windbreaker. But
plus that Phoenix Suns logo in the '90s, just the color palette of it was dope as fuck.
that purple and orange.
I felt like Dan Marley when I had that shit on, dude. What did I have? I definitely had a Magic one. Magic one for sure, for sure. I oddly enough, Steve, had a Golden State Warriors one because I was huge into Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullins, and for a time, Chris Webber.
C Web.
C Web on that team. I was into it. Just love the logo too. And then obviously the Steelers. I had a Penn State.
I remember the Penn State.
Penn State was dope. You know, for a while when Joe Pa was Joe Pa and there was no unnecessary shenanigans out there. Starter jackets, that's basically the vibe of this. You know, this is the '90s in dinosaur terms. And, you know, Charlene's caught up in that and being a fucking cool kid.
A
Just like
socialite.
she should go to Perrysburg, Steve.
I
She
was
would have
just
fit
thinking
right.
that.
Baby, we start this off. It's basically the celebrity of the show, but the baby,
The
not the mom.
breakout.
You know, he's playing with some yarn, and Francine has to use it. She's like, I actually need that. So, they have a little funny back and forth with the baby, but the baby's like, I want it. So she gives it to him, but she's like, you see, I told you didn't want it. He just tosses it because he's a little brat, just like Matt. This is little me, Steve.
My ball.
Give me a cinnamon roll. But Charlene walks in with her friend Mindy, who's kind of got Six vibes. See, it was kind of like a blossomy character.
But homelier looking, as well as being a dinosaur.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I was gonna say. I mean, you want to call it homely? She's a dinosaur, Steve. Chill.
yeah, they come home from school and they're just ranting and raving about the social hierarchy at the high school. Their cafeteria was no seats available except for the table that Heather sits at with her friends.
Yeah, and that's the whole. They basically got into a whole like Forrest Gump seat take and sit because those are the cool kids. You can't approach.
Yeah,
You have to be ushered to the cool kid table, Steve. These are just the rules.
it's a process.
They're talking, they're gabbing, they're eating cheese logs covered in chocolate syrup because that's just kind of what chick dinosaurs do, Steve. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a Blossom episode, but just wildly lizard-like, Steve. It's just weird. I think maybe they even stole a Blossom script and just put some dinosaurs in it.
Definitely wearing one of the hats.
Yeah, so they stop eating long enough to turn on the TV, and they see this commercial it speaks to them. What's the one thing that makes you feel superior to others? Status. You know? What's the one important thing for everyone in this world? Status.
At Prestige Outerwear.
Prestige outerwear worldwide, wide. But this is like a clothing company, Steve. This is if Kim K had a little. I mean, I'm sure she does have a clothing company or some kind of company. These little poor dinosaur girls, Steve, they just gotta have that status fucking drip that they want to walk in and feel like we did with the starter jacket. You know?
You can wear a coat that says, I'm better than you. I'm better than you.
And, Charlene's like, well, I think the Lord just spoke to me. This is the answer to my prayers. I got to get this coat so I can make the haters hate and I can just walk slowly by them and enjoy that. So she does what I did as a kid. This was what you had to do in a two-parent household, Steve. There was always the hard ass, but then there was like the good cop. So what I would do in these situations, and this is what Charlene does. First, she just asks, gets a little feel for what the overall like sentiment is in the household. And her mom's like, $500 for a jacket? No. What do you think? Your dad knocks trees over for a living. I mean, we're not pulling in the big bucks. So then Charlene takes that hard no and spins that to the dad, or maybe just kind of keeps the no part of it out. And it's like, Dad, like, come on, get this jacket. I feel like I would look great in it. I mean, you're a great dad, so I feel like you'd understand. She tries to pull that move and do the smooth thing. She also just basically is like, look, I'm gonna die if I don't get this jacket. You got to help me out. It's a lot of pressure.
And they're about to eat, but Charlene's not hungry at all. Like she's thinking about that coat, and Grandma comes out, and I love the Grandma. She's probably my second favorite character on the show because she runs into Earl and she's like, "Get out the way, you fat sack of fat."
Jacks him in the head with a cane too, Steve. Like this is Singapore in this dinosaur fucking house. And then the mom comes in. She's like, "Oh, is dinner ready, baby?" Just wheels on past and her little, what are those things called? Rascals? She's got a rascal, Steve. I love that.
Why aren't you eating, dear? Well, I only care about this coat. Is this about a coat? And she pulls out a smooth $500 out of her bra. And she was like, I was going to give it to you for college, but let's be honest. The only way you'll go to college is if you pop out of a cake at a frat house.
Grandma knows, Steve. She's been around. I mean, she's in dinosaur years. How long did it take to get old? Shit. She's seen it all. So she pops a 500 in Charlene's hand, and that's great. And, she honestly did it just to fuck with the youngster, the mom and the dad. She's like, fuck that.
That's how it goes.
Cut to later, watching basically the dinosaur equivalent of America's Funniest Home Videos, but it's called
Totally
Totally Predators, Steve, which isn't what we think of when we think of predator
right.
shows. But this is just, somebody like, why is there no one in this room? And then just some gigantic monster beast comes and eats them. And that's hilarious,
I'd watch that.
I would too. I mean, I watch Faces of Death, Steve, so I'm down as fuck. But it is funny. There's no wacky noises, though, I don't think. I didn't catch that. Maybe there was. Like,
Yeah, the slapstick sells itself, man. But Charlene, she returns from the store apparently because she's got that new coat.
yeah, the shit. I mean, I got to be honest with you, Steve. 500 for something that looks like a cow skin. I mean, that's a ripoff where I'm from.
Is it supposed to be a mink coat?
It's a fur of some kind. You see the kind of drip on the front, but then it comes behind him, and there's like a talking head of some goddamn beast, some marmot, maybe a ferret. It's a ferret coat, Steve.
Voiced by the one and only Tim Curry. And the
Hmm.
mom, she asked, like, where did you get 500 to get that coat? I got it from grandma. That's supposed to be your college fund. The only thing I care about is looking great.
And the coat's down with this because the coat's kind of got like a hoity-toity, snobby attitude about everything. So he's like, maybe tell this trash over here that this coat is the best thing that ever happened to this house. Stuff like that. Francine's pissed, but honestly, like, it's not my fault. Grandma gave me 500, gave me 500. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm a kid. So I get it from that perspective. But this coat, I don't know. It's literally speaking in Charlene's ear, and it's not the voice you want her to be hearing. It's the devil on her shoulders.
It pretty much is because the coat just takes over from there and says she's not ready for college until she gets that whole self esteem thing in check. Yo,
Maybe a little bit of a diet or two, you know what I'm saying? Something to zhuzh it up. Charlene's friend Mindy shows up. And while, I don't think we kind of discussed this, but, they kind of had this agreement that if they get a coat, no matter what, they're going to split the coat.
yeah.
So Mindy comes in, is like, "Oh, you got it," and is like, "Can I try it on?" And the code is like, "I don't know if somebody as fat as that can fit." Like, it's
Huh.
something shitty.
It becomes a row session, and I think it's a Fox jacket. That's what IMDb says. The motherfucker says, "Who dressed you, and why do they hate you?" The thing about owning me, it's about status, and it's all about you having me and them not.
So sharing me is on the table, and also time to dump this zero bitch and fucking start hanging out with some real cool kids. So Charlene's like can't really. I don't know what the hell she does because she basically is like, "Yo, hey Mindy, kick rocks." Because
Now,
this coat told her to say that shit. And Mindy, I mean, she just fucking makes her best friend go away, Steve. This is Perrysburg.
now, Matt, if this was to ever happen, don't take this personal. Me and your jacket, we got to go outside and shoot the fade. We got to shoot the fair one. It's not about you at this point.
That's fucked up, Steve. I gave you that starter jacket. You're turning on me, man.
It's not, I'm not.
I'll
I'm
give
not taking it out on you. I'm taking it out on the coat. It says something about my mama.
So now Charlene's friendship torn to shreds. Mindy's gone. And now, it's the coach's like, time to go through the yearbook and pick out some winners for us to hang out with. He's going window shopping, Steve.
Yeah. You feel
Shit.
guilty? Yeah, you'll get over it.
Cut to later, Robbie, who's not really featured in this show too much, but one of my favorite characters because of the steroid episode. He's watching another weird worded thing. It's called DTV, and it's not what you're thinking. It's not Spice Channel with dicks. It's Dino Music TV, and there's a new album out by Lizard Skizzard, and they're there. Don't bother to come. We'll be on cable next month. Steve. So not selling like hotcakes, but love the name Lizard Skizzard. And if we start a band,
the
I suggest maybe that's what we go with.
the name of the album is "Take This Off the Radio for Free." I think it will go commercial.
Yeah. Robbie's just trying to watch TV, but he keeps getting calls for Charlene. They get a call. They want to hang out. They want to talk to Charlene, and it's all because of this fucking code, Steve. So I guess status does mean everything.
Yeah,
You know, maybe they're right.
her brother became her secretary. Charlene, she comes in there. She's like, "I have great news. Heather Worthington said I could sit at her table tomorrow."
We gonna eat fancy tomorrow, Mom. But Francine, she's wet blanketing this whole sitch. She's like, look, this is actually a problem because you're getting rewarded for all this shitty behavior. You toss your friend aside. This Fox jacket's saying some crazy shit. I think it's racist. And I don't like it. She tries to get Earl involved. And he's like, I'm sorry. Should I be sad that my daughter's popular? Like, what's the problem here?
Yeah,
You know?
that's how
She
they
was about
all are.
Cliff the other day. Now she's hanging out with some popular chick, and she has a friend that she can wear. I mean, what's the problem here? Hands off, you know.
Cut to Charlene's room, and this is the beginning of her rude awakening because the coat tells her, "You're unprepared. Everyone knows that you're cool now because of me, and I'm starting to become a novelty. The novelty of me is getting old. So you need to accessorize me. You need to match something with me."
Yeah, you need more nice shit to match with this nice shit. So this was just the bottom of the barrel. People are gonna start getting sick of this. You know, it's like the Baconator. You can't keep that thing around all the time, or people are gonna stop ordering it. In this case, you're gonna lose your popularity. They're gonna see you're fat. They're gonna see you're a weirdo, and that this whole thing is just a scam that you spent $500 on. It's all money. That's not cool, you know.
What you need to do is go back and shop. How about where does that Heather girl? Where does she shop?
Some fancy place in the mall. He's like, perfect, perfect. She's like, well, I don't have any money. I can't afford that. He's like, look, yeah, you don't, but why not just get your dad's? Doesn't your dad have a credit card? She's like, what are you talking about? I can't do that. And he's like, look, your dad, this guy's he works all the time. He's working hard. He's sleeping. He's got to earn having a good daughter. And how does he earn that? By you spending money on his credit card without telling him. Does this make sense?
He'll pick up a second job if he has to.
Yeah, fuck him. He's old. You need to capitalize while you could still use fucking squeeze this lemon out, you know, before he dries up. So she's like, I still don't feel great about it, but this is a hell of a fox. Dude. It's Tim Curry, Steve. I'll talk a fucking woman in white gloves into buying to catch a popsicle. You know what I'm saying?
I was trying to catch all of that. But
Well, rewind it and try to figure it out afterwards. But basically, now Charlene's a criminal, Steve. She's got a criminal mind. She needs to go to the dangerous mind school here soon. She's going to be in jail because she goes down. Earl's sleeping on the big pile of rocks or whatever. He's watching some more. What's the show? Predator.
Totally Hidden Predator.
Watching that. So I think some office guy gets eaten, which is hilarious. But he's asleep, Steve. Charlene, she's not the most light-footed cat, or she's no Catwoman, but she gets over there and starts picking at his little front pocket because he only has one pocket, Steve. I was like, I hope it's in the shirt because otherwise she ain't sneaking that out. She's got the thing up under the tail. She gets to it. She thinks, okay, she's set free, but then, damn it, the baby's right behind her. He's like, what are you doing? Yeah. And he's not pulling the volume level down, Steve. He doesn't know. Or he does.
He on 10, Matt. He on 10.
Yeah. She's like, shut the fuck up. It's like when Chris Tucker's stealing the wallet out of Debo shit. He's like, oh shit, you know, it's scary. You're stealing money out of the old man's wallet. It's pretty fucked up. But she pays the baby like $1 to shut up, which is, I mean, hey, whatever. I think the baby just eats the dollar, so yeah, you know, whatever. That's pretty cool. But she's got a credit card, Steve. Shame on you, Charlene. Shame on you.
It's that convincing fox.
It is. So now we go to the mall, Steve, and she's at, I don't know, Dillard's. I don't know. Whatever the Dino equivalent of Macy's is.
Dino Macy's.
She's looking at everything and every price tag. This is what happens when I shop anywhere that's not like Ross, where I'm like, fucking $30 for this shit.
$40.
Jesus. It's like crazy expensive, you know?
every price they see. And Charlene's like, you know what? Never mind. Forget about it. And this is when the fox is like, your dad could just pick up a second job.
It's fine, dude. People don't need sleep. It's cool. It's you need this. You need at least a sweater to go with me because all this other shit. Shopping at Ross. You are shopping at Ross. I mean, she's basically me, Steve.
Yeah, the bargain buckets, and they run into Heather, and Heather's pretty fly for dinosaur standards. She's got the name brand hat with the match with the name brand blouse.
Got that long neck, Steve. You know, yeah. and, she starts talking to Charlene, and Charlene's like, "Oh, hey," and she's like, "Oh, I didn't know you shopped here." Very snobbish, Steve. She fits right in with the fox because she's like, "Oh yeah," and she starts saying a lot of snide shit. You know, I think she says something about the weight. She makes a fat joke, or the fox does. And now the fox and Heather are just having like sort of a love affair. Fuck Charlene at this point. The fox is like, "Oh, I belong on that."
Turned on her, because while they're having a powwow, Charlene, she gives in. She's like, you know what, I'm gonna at least try some stuff on. She comes back from the dressing room, and Heather's wearing the coat.
Yeah, and now he's like, "I'm not going back to your trash body." So she's lost the coat, Steve. She lost a. I mean, honestly, you got to start throwing hands, Charlene, because that's $500. Like you can't let that go.
You got to
You
throw
know,
hands at least, man.
grandma is gonna be dead soon. You can't get that money back. You know, you gotta at least do something. But this fox coat, it's. I mean, it's smart like a fox, Steve. I mean, Jesus.
It's sly,
You know?
and
Oh my.
Charlene, she tries to take it off Heather, and the fox like bites at her.
Get off me, trash woman. I've found a better home. So she's out of coat. She feels like garbage now, Steve. Cut to home, and Earl's trying to find some answers. He's trying to go Sipowicz just on the baby. Like, who did this? Where were you? Who do you work for?
At first, the baby's no snitch. It's like, I ain't telling. I ain't rat. And then Earl bribes the baby. He's like, oh, Charlene did it. I saw her, and Charlene did it. She did it when I saw her do it. Charlene.
Charlene. Just a minute. Let me write it on a page for you, just in case there's any confusion. So Francine's like, look, I told you, like this is what happens when she wants to be all hanging out with the rich people. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what's gonna happen. She's acting like shit. She's never stolen before, I think, but we got to do something about this, Earl. Earl's like, look, I'm gonna let you do the parenting because I got a little more hidden predators to watch. It's about to pop on. There's another episode coming on soon, but Steve, Charlene walks in, and most of the parenting's been done because Charlene feels like shit. She's admitting to everything, if I'm not mistaken, and she's like, I'm an idiot. Like you guys were right. That Fox thing called me fat and called me a slur. I think from like 300 years ago. That I don't even know what the fuck it means, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was negative.
It's
So
like a throwback N word.
yeah,
Gives the card back, and Earl tells her, let this be a lesson that status is not the key to life.
and wise words for a guy who just knocks trees down, Steve. Don't judge a book by his cover. I do like Charlene's move of being like trying to get ahead of it a little bit because this is also what I did as a little sneaky kid. Was like, I feel terrible about this, and there's really no, like I feel like the level of bad that I feel about all this and like how bad what I've done is like there's really no need to even punish me. It's like I've already been punished if you think about it, what I'm going through, and that doesn't work. She's like, Francine's like, you're grounded. Okay? You're grounded.
And not only that, Charlene, you know what you have to do now. And so the episode ends with her giving that phone call to her old pal, Mindy.
Boop, 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 boop. Hey, ah, look, I don't have the jacket anymore, and I'm sorry.
Still besties?
Yeah, can we hang out? Sorry. But yeah, shame on you, Charlene. This is more of a Laura Winslow move, I feel
Very.
like. Charlene? I thought you were better than that.
Expected more out of you. On that same day in 1992, Beethoven premieres. A slobbering St. Bernard becomes the center of attention for George and Alice Newton's loving family, who must contend with dog-napping local veterinarian Dr. Herman Varnick and his henchmen Harvey and Vernon. Directed by Brian Levant, starring Charles Grodin, Bonnie Hunt, Dean Jones, Oliver Platt, and Stanley Tooch to the Mooch.
David Duchovne's in this too, Steve.
David Duchovny and Patricia Heaton.
Yeah.
Ma.
Ma! Beethoven! Charles Grodin, though. Let's talk about a legend, Steve. A guy who I always loved seeing in movies. He was always like a funny, like mad dude.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's one of those old school movie stars that if you cross this guy, he's going to give you a nice rap on the Jack Johnson. You know?
Yeah, Burt Reynolds, like that.
Exactly.
One of
He's
those
going to
people.
knock you the fuck out, to be polite about it. But love me some Charles Grodin, Steve. And he plays the part you would think. A guy who adopts this dog. He's got a hot wife, Bonnie Hunt. Always thought she was kind of hot. She was kind of like the hot chick. What's the chick from Mad About You? I'm spacing.
Helen Hunt.
Ellen Hunt. They kind of live
Might
in
be
that same.
related.
They might be, but I love this movie. I love the Beethoven series as a kid. I loved dog movies as a kid, and this is one of the good ones. And it's not Cujo. It's a fun dog movie. You know, it's not one that's gonna fuck your head up.
And can't forget Christopher Castile, who plays Mark-ass Mark from Step by Step, and the little cute girl from Kindergarten Cop.
Oh yeah, that is hell yeah, that is her.
Yeah.
Hell
It's a fun
yeah.
movie, man. You know, and it's early 90s.
Kids movies, you know. This was just a fun little this was a library rental, Steve.
Yeah.
This is when you go, you're 10 years old and watch a little Beethoven. You know, watch this thing tear up a house.
This movie was so successful, they've made Beethoven second, third. I don't know. He's got a whole litter at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's like Beethoven to the 10th degree at this point. He's like flying a spaceship now, but yeah, dude, this was great. This is what just it's not going to knock you over story wise.
No.
But you get the pulled at the heartstrings, and there's always in these '90s movies this like weird, vague threat that maybe Beethoven's going to be put down. You know, like one of those things. Like he attacked somebody. He's a vicious animal. One of those. We're like, are they going to kill him?
Yeah, man. Those early 90s like villains, because he's obsessed. He must get this dog. Like,
Yeah. It's, you know, and that's the thing. In the 90s, you could do that. Now it's a little crazy, honestly. But fun fact that I just found looking up things about this movie, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, this is his first movie, Steve. Blink and you miss a cameo, I guess. Kid on the right wearing a green top who gets on the school bus while Ted hides behind a tree before getting on the bus, Steve. So there you go. That's just blink and you miss JGL, you know. This isn't the Batman guy. This is way back. But actually, Steve Martin was the first choice for the dad in this, Steve. And I feel like that would have just been a whole different movie.
it would have been. And I mean, there were a couple people that they mentioned too that could have had this role. But yeah, Charles Grodin was perfect for it because he just has that no nonsense demeanor about him where everybody else is all like family friendly and like TGIF wholesome. And he's just like, fuck this dog. It's ruining my life.
Fucking annoying the shit out of me. I have to pick up these. You see how big the shit is I'm picking up? I mean, the shits that dog. I mean, I have a little dog, Steve Mason. You know, it's manageable. If I got to pick up something coming out of that beast,
Yeah.
good Lord. Yeah, and when you see the list of stars that could have possibly played the dad, you want to see every version of this movie, but I think you're right. In terms of like the tone of the character that we get, it's perfect.
You know, 1995, Duckman is airing season 2, episode 4, Inherit the Judgment, the Dopes Trial. After Duckman's family car breaks down in King Chicken's hometown, Duckman is put on trial for making a claim that the egg came before the chicken. Yeah.
I mean, Duckman, this is a hidden gem. This is like on the level, and I think maybe I even watched them like parallel in some way, but it's like the critic to me. It's like one of those that it should have more claim to it, but it is great. This is a hilarious one. Another cameo from Tim Curry too, Steve. I mean, we can't stop.
April 3rd was kind of Tim.
Can't stop, won't stop, Steve. Tim Curry style.
The family, they're driving through the desert and they're just dying in this car. Where's the next stop? Where's the next gas station? What's going on? Are we going to die today? And then all of a sudden they crash into a fountain and immediately they get all over the water.
I mean, lapping it up, and it's a rest stop, so I guess you don't have to be that worried about it, but I don't know if I'm just drinking straight from the pipe, Steve. You might want to just boil that a little bit, but they're thirsty. You know, they've been stuck in that car. Ajax must have farted 8 or 9 times in there, and God knows what the two-headed kid's doing. You know, I
Yeah.
don't even know if he can hold his bladder. He's got a shit bladder and colon, so
Bernice's thighs touching, smelling
no,
like starfish.
the cussy. Happy accident. They're loving the water. They realize that they're kind of like in the middle of nowhere in like this hick town or close to this hick town. The sheriff shows up. He's like, "You lost,"
Y'all lost.
and that's all he can say, Steve. Y'all lost. The sheriff takes them to town, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
because the car's fucked up. They get there, and this is like a full-on like Hills Have Eyes situation, Steve. This is like an inbred town in the middle of the desert. Just a lot of shared chromosomes. You know, I'm not enjoying this.
This is actually what Fremont, Ohio looks like.
It is. It's pretty close. I mean, even just the beauty, the level of just politeness, and just the level of
Inbred.
what you would call just like cleft palates and stuff. It's definitely got a Fremont vibe to it. So they're kind of looking around the town. You know, it's a little creepy, but hey, fuck it. The guy with the bleeding wound asking you if it's infected, you know, it's just part of the charm. You know, fuck it. I'm here to enjoy myself. So Duckman, he hops into a local watering hole. It's, the vibe. It's kind of like when Marty McFly hops into a bar in Back to the Future 3. Everyone looks at him. He's the odd man out because he doesn't have a cleft palate or he's not like breathing out of his mouth, basically.
Or missing thumbs.
Yeah. Or just like with that, maybe an extra thumb. Fuck it. Fuck. It's just a lot of weird mental illness. He's trying to like sort of speak the language of the locals. He's not having a good time. So Bernice is like, well, I'm going to turn on the charm. Flat starts working to these little hicks because they all want some of this hot ass. Not working, Steve. These people, they don't understand the language of love. Duckman, he can't get over on just his knowledge of hicks. So it's just not really going too well.
Duckman, he makes a beeline to the bar and he calls out King Chicken. Apparently, they have a history because they already know each other. And he tells King Chicken that he's going to jail. But right after that, King Chicken shows him his badge. He's like, I am the law. And all these folks are my kin.
My sister mom's over there taking care of my brother kid. The tree's just one line up, Steve. There's no branches. There's nothing. It's just a couple of chromosomes just flying around into different holes. He's the Lord of the Land, Steve. He's a sheriff. He's probably a couple other things. I think he has like an ice cream shop in this town. But he's King Chicken, Steve. I mean,
King Chicken.
he says it all. Oddly enough, even though there's like this weird vibe, they're apparently like mortal enemies. King Chicken's like, look, man, I already took the liberty of fixing the car. That's waiting for you. So here's the keys. Buy you a drink. Like he's just being way too polite, Steve. Or he's just being polite. And so, even though Duckman's like, you know what, fuck this guy, but a drink's a drink. And so they start getting to it. And doesn't King Chicken propose a toast that involves asking the question, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And Duckman just he's like, the egg, right? And then they're like, throw his ass in jail.
Immediately, like the very next clip, he's in jail. While Duckman's in jail, King Chicken, he's talking to the people of Coopville. And he's like, are we just going to allow him to come in here and disrespect us like that? No. So, you know what we must do? We must be an angry, unruly mob.
Yeah, dude. Let's get this dude. I mean, it's a full-on like Frankenstein thing, Steve. They're getting torches ready. This guy's a heretic. You can't question this. This is like, you can't do this, Steve. This is some Bible Belt shit. You know what I'm saying? So they're all fucking pissed off. Bernice is just trying, because apparently Bernice and King Chicken also got a little pass, and she's trying to be sexy for the guy too. She's trying to fit in with him. But also, while this is all happening, we do see Cornfed sneaking around. Cornfed's his little buddy. It's his ace, you know,
He's always on it.
second in
Just
command, and he's got a bad vibe. He's sniffing it out. He's looking for truffles.
Duckman, while he's in jail, he's talking to I guess the correction officer, and he's like, my sister made this tin cup. Now it's all banged up. Now don't go hurting the big house because my brother he made that bench, and Duckman's just like, dude, I don't care. Okay, I won't hurt the big house.
God, okay. I don't care if your mother is currently about to come over here and fuck you. I don't get this. It's not my kind of
Yeah.
porno. Okay? But luckily for Duckman, Cornfed shows up, Steve. He's got a visitor, right? Time for a visit. So Cornfed shows up and basically he's like, look, dude, you're fucked, this, that. He tells him what's going on. And Duckman's like, well, I mean, great, but I don't got a lawyer. Like, where are we going to get a lawyer from? And Cornfed's like, I'm a lawyer. Like, he he pulls like a Superman and spins himself into a lawyer outfit.
I'll get you off. I mean, I'll see that you're not guilty.
Yeah, and Duckman's like, yes, please to both. They've got to figure out some way to get him out of this. But cut to the carnival, Steve, because now this town of inbred hicks, they've got a lynching or possible lynching to celebrate, I guess. So there's like a whole carnival. They're selling little Duckman hanging stuffed animals, which the production, they got to write out. So salute to that.
Yeah, the rollout is quick. I mean, the whole carnival is themed around a Duckman hanging. They even have these dolls you can buy. They have T-shirts. Even the son, Ajax, he's giving a monologue of his life story, and it's creeping the people out. They're running out of the tent.
Yeah, it's too artistic. Their feeble inbred brains can't even understand an intellect like Ajax's, which is sad. Because he's borderline there too, Steve. He's right on the spectrum of where they're at, but he's blowing their minds. Bernice, she's fully just trying to get down with King Chicken. She's like, remember that time getting it on in the car? It's disgusting. But Bernice, she's got thick thighs, Steve. She's got that thick duck ass, and she's trying to get back with her old flame, King Chicken. You know what I'm saying?
She want that whole thing back. While Cornfred is talking to Duckman, the angry mob just busts into the jail. They waited long enough. We also get introduced to King Chicken's pappy, Judge Kennesaw Mountain Chicken. He's the judge around these parts.
I do declare, Steve, he's got a little bit of that southern accent. He's his pappy and his brother and his uncle.
But just to be clear, so that there's no bias, he's not from Coopville. He's from Pixley. This is the town right behind Coopville. See, there's Pixley, Coopville, Pixley.
There's a line right behind him. He's like, you can see the line right there. Damn dotted line right there. I'll be goddamn.
We're going to give him a fair trial, and then we're going to string him up and shake him until he's dead.
Yeah, and it's also like, I don't know if this guy's going to be impartial because he shows up to town in I sentenced Duckman to death, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt. Sure. Duckman's probably going to get hung. Not looking great for Cornfed, but dude, Cornfed's he's the Johnny Cochran of whatever this is, Steve. This motherfucker's got aces and aces up his sleeve.
People are asking for his autograph. He's like Michael Jackson in '84, man. And even Cornfed asked for an autograph. He's like, oh, no, he was writing it out to my friend who just also happens to be named Cornfed.
I do declare you need an autograph from myself. This is trial time, Steve. They just get right to it. And King Chicken's like, look, let's just go away with this whole jury selection process and just go with the people who are so dumb that they didn't know they were sitting in the jury box, which includes like a lady watching a TV, a guy who I think was like picking his ass. So the jury, I don't know if it's of the peers or not, but they got a jury.
And before Cornfed opens up, he's like, hey, can I ask you, Judge, if Chicken King can get off your lap? And so he gets off the judge's lap. The judge is just like, yeah, we heard you now. Shut up.
You're not guilty, whatever. God damn it. I guess we're going to have to go through with this shit. And so they start going through on this trial, Steve, and it's just not going well. I think we all saw this coming, but I mean, it's all stacking up against Duckman. The evidence or lack thereof or whatever you want to call it just feels like maybe he's going to be found guilty, and I don't like that,
The Chicken King, he goes time to kill with it. He goes straight Matthew McConaughey. Think of a child picking a daisy on a Sunday afternoon. And then Duckman comes around the corner, crashing into her in a large truck, and he backs up and runs over her again and again.
That's your child. That's the child. It's a mob of people that want to kill him anyway, so I don't think we're getting a not guilty, but right at the last second, Steve, Duckman's son with two heads, I forget the names, but he's got some evidence. He's got some information that needs to be heard in order for this case to have some justice. And basically, what it is that it's just Duckman was not aware of this law. So if you're not aware of it, you can't be convicted of it, basically. And it's not murder, it's just saying something. So, okay. And the judge, for God's sake, thank God, he's like, well, you know what? Son of a bitch. Guess you're right. I guess you win. But Duckman's like, not so fast. Right before he's about to say not guilty, Duckman's like, hey, I got something to say here. So, no, let's wait on that not guilty verdict. And he goes into this whole thing about TVs. This guy over here is picking his ass. This guy over here's got M&Ms in his mouth. Did you
And
watch Simon Rex? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Because he calls King Chicken to the stand and he asks, like, so, like, in order to get me to say egg, did you use ventriloquism? Well, is it true that you're really Japanese? I didn't know you were Japanese.
He just loses it. He drives the dude crazy with stupidity, basically. You know? But
it's my right as an American to talk. And it just drives Chicken King crazy.
And then he snaps, Steve, and he admits there was actually a scheme here. He's come up, this was a whole like Hannibal Lecter situation. He came up with the free thing that Duckman was driving across the country to get. I think it was like a clock.
A clock radio.
That's why they were driving in the first place. He came up with the whole situation for him to crash here into this town called Coopville or whatever it's called. And so he had like this dastardly plan, and he outlines it all. And now he's got to go to jail, Steve. I mean, Duckman might be, he's like Columbo. You know, he's like, well, one last thing. You know, and then he just goes on for 5 minutes about God knows what. I don't know if King Chicken's going to jail, but Duckman's not. He's not going to be hung, Steve. So that's a win.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up. As King Chicken is leaving, Bernice gives him a kiss. Like, she is really smitten over King Chicken.
Just remember all those nights by the pitch and putt.
Duckman knew he'd win because he has a higher power on his side. So now who you're thinking, he has an even higher power than that. And then they cut to the Paramount logo.
God bless. Even though it's not viewable on there. But shout out to YouTube for just having all these. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. This does end with a great corn-fed / Porky Pig parody. Blee. That's all we got, folks.
That's all we got.
I love that. But just another great. We watched this a couple times. We've had multiple episodes where we talk about this, and it's just a great cartoon. It's a great adult cartoon.
Somebody who probably didn't watch this in 1995 is probably the UCLA Bruins because they beat the Arkansas Razorbacks 89-78 for their 11th national title.
I didn't like him at the time, Steve, but I love me some UCLA Bruins now. So let this college save my life. So I guess I got to root for him for something. It's not going to be for football, but I can root for some Bruins in basketball. You know?
So you respect them even more. Like looking back, you retrospectively support them. That 95 team, even though I didn't care about them at the time.
Go. Who played on them, Steve? Who were the superstars?
The O'Bannon brothers, Ed and Charlie O'Bannon, Cameron Dollar, and Tyus Edney. Before this championship match, the clip with Tyus Edney just running the court in 4 seconds to win the second round game against Missouri, they still use that clip. He takes it inbounds, and he literally goes the length of the court, does a bank shot. They win the game by 1 point, and you know that's one of those timeless clips, man. So Tyus Edney, all those guys I name, I believe they got drafted, except for maybe Cameron Dollar. Maybe he got drafted. But I know Tyus Edney and both the O'Bannon boys, Charles and Ed O'Bannon, they got drafted as well. They just didn't last long in the league, but somebody else in that Final Four was Bryant Big Country Reeves. He was for
Oh yeah, dude.
and the team they beat, Arkansas, that was a team that had Corliss Williamson, and I think Arkansas, they had to beat North Carolina in order to get to the finals. And that North Carolina team had Jerry Stackhouse and Rasheed Wallace.
Wallace. Damn, that's just a legendary year of collegiate basketball. God damn.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember the O'Bannon brothers, but that's the only people. That's only like familiar names from that UCLA team. But shout out, dude. That's crazy. Beat 'em
and
all.
Ed O'Bannon, he's a big part of this NIL thing that's going on now. So a lot of these guys, these fresh out of high school guys who are getting $1 million contracts, they have Ed O'Bannon to thank, man, because he was at the forefront paying his dues, to make sure future athletes get paid, man. So shout out to that as well.
Yeah, hell yeah, I love that. I got no problem with those kids getting paid because better than them than and they're like getting injured and shit than the colleges for sure.
And getting nothing.
Yeah,
But their degree, they get the degree, get an
got
education.
the experience, guys. Okay, sorry about that fucked up ACL that you'll never recover from. It's okay though.
I smell a scam. But that following year, 1996, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate premieres. A fast-paced, womanizing nightclub promoter gets paid back in full when he scorns a beautiful woman with psychotic tendencies who will punish him for breaking her heart. Directed by Martin Lawrence, starring Martin Lawrence, Lynn Whitfield, Regina King, Bobby Brown, Daryl Mitchell, Roger E. Mosley, and Della Reese.
Great movie. And I didn't know Martin. I've seen this many times, but I never clocked that Martin Lawrence directed it. I don't know why that wasn't like one of the biggest facts associated with that in my head. But that's
Right.
awesome, dude. I think this is the only thing he ever directed.
You might be right, man. And this is also Tracy Morgan's film debut because he plays one of the bartenders at the club. I remember my mom dropping me and my friends off after school one day to see this. She might have actually had to buy the tickets. I don't know if this was R rated, but I remember leaving this movie thinking like, man, I know this lady was really messed up, but she is so hot,
Dude,
and it might be the beginning of my addiction to toxic women.
I mean, it could be. I think Boomerang might have been mine because that one was pretty toxic too.
Robin Givens, oh yeah, yeah.
But I don't think it's clocked as much, especially like for anybody in this. But like, especially because of Martin's like first directorial debut. But it is a funny comedy. I mean, he's just a coxman that gets caught up. You know,
Yeah.
fucks with the wrong
And
chick, and I think we've all been there in one way or the other, Steve. Thank God it wasn't this chick. But I'm with you. I mean, dude, toxic women, they might not be great for your life, but they're great for a lot of other stuff. You know?
especially if she looks like Lynn Whitfield, because fuck Mara Kill. And this is also when Martin had his epic meltdown where he just ran out into the freeway and he's shouting black power and fight the power, all of this stuff. And in a couple of scenes, you'll notice that one of his eyes, he shot a vessel. I read this on IMDb. Despite me like watching this movie several times, I read this before watching it again, and I saw that as like, wow. I noticed the scenes where like his eye is like a blood vessel just like booming.
Damn.
So
Okay.
filming this had to be difficult, man. I mean, there's no telling what he was going through at the time. His show was still on. He was going through the stuff with Tisha Campbell. And here we are, 2025, talking about the man who's still here. God bless, man. I hope you can stick around as long as possible, Martin, man, because we love you.
Hell yeah, dude. And this is another proof of that, dude. He's great in this. And dude, honestly, dude, if I didn't know that breakdown shit happened during this, but just
Yeah.
directing a movie that you have to star in, that might drive people crazy because that's so much pressure. I mean, you're everything. You're the star and the director. It's like, well, if this fucks up, dude, we got Bobby Brown out here fucking around. Like, you know how much this shit costs?
Hey, with all due respect to Bobby Brown, you're in a fucked up situation when he's the voice of reason trying to talk you off the ledge.
Man, you gotta chill out, man. Like, Bobby,
Bobby, wait, what bizarre world?
you need to stop. Bobby Brown's telling me this. I gotta stop.
I'm taking advice. Damn, where do we
I
get
need
here?
help. I need help, man.
Hey, Love you though, Bobby. 1998, Mercury Rising premieres. Shadowy elements in the NSA target a 9-year-old autistic savant for death when he is able to decipher a top secret code. Directed by Howard Becker, starring Bruce Willis, Alec Baldwin, Chi McBride, Kim Dickens, and Miko Hughes.
Also, I think the brother from Drew Carey shows in this. He was always like a guy in these kind of movies.
Is that him, John Carroll Lynch? Because I made sure to put it. That's him.
That's
Okay,
that's John Carroll Lynch. Also, if you're a Wire fan, one of the top cops is in this as well. It's one of the white cops who ends up being gay. He's always on McNulty's ass. That could have been like 5,000 guys, but it's one of the white cops.
the head guy.
It's the guy. He's bald, and like in the first episode, he's like, "You know what, McNulty? You're about this far up my ass." It's one of those guys.
That,
He's
wow.
he was always that's another. He's like one of those '90s background legends where he
Yeah.
just popping up as like a cop or some like crooked dude. Also, the jump to conclusions guy from Office Space is in this. He kind of looks like Wilford Brimley, but he's not Wilford Brimley.
That yeah, he's off. He's Timu Wolf. I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah, he's in a lot of shit in the 90s too.
Oh yeah, that guy was used a lot. He's a funny guy, but he could be like sort of a serious guy. Like, hey, look here, brother. He's kind of like one of those like old dog guys, like CD and Walker Texas Ranger.
They really want to kill Miko Hughes. Boys have penises, girls have vaginas. This is Michelle Tanner's homeboy.
I love the concept of this too because basically he's autistic, right? So he like Rain Man's like an FBI or like CIA code, and they're like, well, this kid, nobody should be able to do this. Kill him. Like what?
Yeah, like that. And because the guy who kills his parents, he has no remorse, man. He goes straight into the house, kills mom, kills dad, no questions asked.
Yeah, Miko's like, boys have a penis, girl have a vagina. But this isn't like at the top of my Bruce Willis list of movies, but this is a
It's not.
serviceable 90s action movie. And I think it's actually like pretty cool,
I thought it'd be funny, like instead of some like code, what if it's like an NSA member who didn't want to get like outed, like he's gay. It's like nobody must know. Kill that kid.
He knew the code. They're like, what code are you talking about?
You know the code.
Yo, man, listen to me, man. You saw me sucking a dick out, man. Hey, man, I don't know what to do, man.
No, don't look at me like that.
It's a code, man. It's a bro code, okay? He was broke. Yeah, but this was one of those cool movies that you just like pick up at like a rental and you'd watch it and you didn't hate it. It's not terrible.
You don't hate it, but like you said, man, if we're talking about the pantheon of Bruce Willis flicks, man, it's
That's tough though. That's a tough like legend to live up to. You know what I mean? Like I get it, but still, there was like, remember the movie Arnold Schwarzenegger made called Eraser? It was like X-ray guns and shit. It was just like a long line of
I
like
remember it.
action. They just like were plugging these guys into movies, so it didn't
Yeah.
always work. But this wasn't the worst version of a Bruce Willis like movie. I mean,
No.
he made some shitty Die Hard. One of those last Die Hard movies was one of the biggest like pieces of garbage. But
Die Harder or some shit.
I mean, he had like a son in it or some shit. He like jumped off a plane. But yeah, dude, I love me some Bruce Willis, dude. Shout out to Bruce. He's struggling, but we also get Alec Baldwin. Get a sexy '90s Alec Baldwin, which we all love.
Yeah.
Shout out
These
to Alec
women.
Baldwin. He's going through some shit right now. A little bit of different kind of shit, but
I think he's past that because he's made appearances on SNL. He even has a reality show on Peacock now with his family.
does Steven make any cameos? Like, hey guys, just want to say Jesus is our Lord. Thank you.
I hope so. I want to watch it because I like Alec Baldwin, man. The whole Baldwin clan, man. Like they're dope.
I mean, I've enjoyed all of their work. Even Danny Baldwin, he was great in this movie called Vampires.
Slither. Which one was in Slither? Was that him? Was that William?
That's Billy Baldwin.
That's Billy. Yeah.
He's honestly, Billy was the sexiest of them all, but he didn't have the chops, Steve. He just could be. He was like the guy they were like, he pumps real good. He thrusts. He's good at like the porno shit.
I mean, yeah. Alec is like the Keenan of the crew, man. But any callbacks, honorable mentions, or takeaways?
I just think, Steve, we got to keep deep dive, like giving you the chance here, right?
Please,
So
please.
I'm just gonna put out some good vibes for you. I don't want to put any pressure on you, but I did manage to. Got some. He wants to be a millionaire. So just take a deep breath. Going deep into the deck. I don't know how long this song lasts either, so we gotta really do some All right. Okay. Which fashion designer was shot dead on the steps of his Miami Beach home in 1997?
Versace.
You got it. Which actor starred as Dr. Douglas Ross in ER from 1994 to 1999?
That's Clooney.
Oh, we got a 2 for 2, Steve. You did it, dude. All right. I was gonna go with the bald guy.
From
Anthony
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards, not Anthony.
It was between those two. I was like, no, I
God.
think that timeline fits because he started doing he did the Spike Jones movie around that time, and he wanted to venture off into Hollywood. So yeah, finally.
Nice, dude. Well, I mean, we're gonna keep coming back here every once in a while, but you did it, and I appreciate that. And just a quick shout out because I'm interested. I love the show, and I want to give it some props. And it's related to ER. So there's a show on Max called The Pit about an ER in Pittsburgh, and that really has little to do with it. But I just think it's a great show. And what I think is cool is Noah Wiley, who played like a young doctor on ER, is like an old doctor in this. And he's kind of getting to play like the old dog that he wasn't in ER in this new show. And it's fantastic. If you like hospital shows, this is very good. So, to The Pit, it is what it is. It's got some 90s connections. But what about you, Steve?
In 1991, Quantum Leap is airing Southern Comforts, and that's the one where Sam wakes up and he's in a whorehouse Bravo.
Touching my penis.
Yeah, we just covered Quantum Leap, so that's a leap you don't want to wake up from, man. But that's really all I got.
You don't got to solve any problems other than having blue balls. You know what I'm saying? Like, just focus on that and just don't let, what's his name? What's the guy that comes in with the calculator?
Dean Stockwell.
Yeah, Dean Stockwell, just ignore him, you know, or like make that weird eye contact. Like when Dave Chappelle did Ghost, and he's like, yeah, I see you.
Yeah,
I see you. Fucking girl. Yeah, we missed out, Steve, because we were watching that other Quantum Leap episode, and I happened to just it keeps playing. So when I saw that, I gave it a good 15 minutes, and I got to say, I think we missed a good opportunity, but I liked what we picked, so it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, we did it for you, Tim Curry.
Pepperoni pizza.
Yeah, the stars align. But please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister, hold on to my balls. Check out Wrestling Ronzilla, our new friend on TikTok, as well as Crushgasm on Wednesdays, and our guy Clark the Shark on Podcastle. This is Steve G and Mad G with
Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
Your ass better